So this is 4. Okay, I'll give you more example here. Okay, let's say we have this. On the left is absolute. Okay. On the left is incremental. Incremental. Okay. So for absolute, you can directly take the coordinate. For example, C for 1. This one is 2, 3. X is 1.5, 4.5 lah. But for incremental, for example, if you have this point number 1, okay, you have to, for example, calculate the distance, the difference for the distance. For example, this one is 1 unit to the right, so it's positive 1, and 3 unit to the up, up, going up. So that's why you mention it 3 lah. Kenapa dia dependent panjang-panjang ni? Yes, okay. So next, after the tool going to point number 1, they will go to point number 2. Okay. So the next coordinate for incremental, they will measure again the distance. So from this point to this point, okay, go for x-axis first. So 1 unit, 2 unit. So for going to the left, it will be negative. Okay, negative. Okay, whereas going down 1 unit will be also negative 1. Okay, next, point number 3. So from point number 2 to point number 3, again, you calculate how many units. For example, here is 1, 2, around 2.75 going to the left, 2.75. So you have negative 2.75 and going down for 1.5. So that's why they stated here negative 1.5. Then the next point here, so going to the right is positive, so positive 7.75. Going down from here to 1.5. Okay, next point is here, point number 5. Going left again negative 1 and going down is negative 1. Next you will go here. From 5, the cutting tool will go to point number 6. So you measure x first. So from here you measure 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, that's why this is positive 5 because going to the right. Then going down for that negative 0.5 from here to here. Going down negative 0.5. Next. Kenapa saya jadi okay. Next, going to point number 7. Okay, from 6 to 7. So again, repeated going to the right for 2 unit. Okay, 1, 2. That's why positive 2, and going up 0.5 unit. So 2, 0.5. Okay, so this method, the difference between 1 point to 1 point, we call it as a incremental method. Incremental method. Okay, so far any questions? Ada soalan tak? Okay, I think it's easy, right? So incremental and the left one is a absolute. So absolute in Malay we call it as a mutlak lah. Dia apa ni coordinate mutlak. So you just directly straightforward take their position, their coordinate for 1, 2, 3, 1.5, 4.5. But for incremental, usually the method is by taking the difference. The difference. Okay. Any question before I proceed with detailed G code and M code? Okay. If you have any question, if you have time, please do some exercise here to calculate all the point A until H. Okay. Just for milling. For turning, I think we don't need to cover. Okay. Next. Okay, so we'll be going for detail how to write a basic programming, G-code and M-code. So this will be important because again will be include for your quiz, 5% quiz, which will be run it through e-learning. Okay. Okay, so we will learn how to do a basic programming. Okay, even though they have 5 different categories, but we only cover basic programming commands, how to do it in details. Okay, this one already mentioned and already covered from last class. So the one that I put an arrow here is the one that you need to remember. Okay, that you need to remember. So this one, all the basics that you need to remember. The one that I didn't put an arrow, so you can just neglect it. Okay, this one, for example. So just refer and remember the code from the arrows. Okay, we already discussed about this, and we will go one by one. Okay, so we go for G-code first. Okay, so G-code are preparatory function, okay, which involve tool move. So any cutting tool move will use G-code. Right? So you have G and M code, right? So for M code is for miscellaneous function. So for example, turn spindle on, turn spindle off, turn coolant on, turn coolant off. But G code, in short, in easier way to put it, G code is for movement of the cutting tool. Okay, most G code described here are modal. It means modal. So what is modal means? Modal means that the function will remain active until cancelled by another G code. Okay, I will show you what modal means in the real code next. Okay, so before that, which code are modal, which code are not? So here are the list. So G00 are modal, but G04 are not. Okay, the rest are modal except G28 and G29. Okay, G92 and G98 and G95 are not modal. All right, so this is M code. Okay, M code is a miscellaneous function. So we already discussed about this. Spindle stop, tool change, coolant off, coolant on, clamp off, clamp on. Okay, example 1, G00. Okay, what is G00? G00 means rapid tool move. Okay, rapid tool move is tool move rapidly. It goes fast, very fast from A to B without cutting anything. All right. So for example, this is point A and point B. Cutting tool will move as maximum speed as the machine can. So it can shorten the travel distance. So they want to use G00. Okay, without cutting, without cutting. So these are the example. So how to use it? Okay, here, for example, we have N25 and N30. This one is your block number. Or for example, if you have in coding, they use N. For example, in real world, you use 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? To tell you the item, to tell people the item that you want to read or you list, right? But in machine, they use block number by N5, for example, N25, or as simple as you can use N01, N02, N03. So machine will read this as line number 1 or block number 1, block number 2, block number 3. So this one is one block or one instruction. So this one is one block, one instruction. This one is another block. So this one is block number 25. This one is block number 30. Okay, you can write it in your own way. If like me, usually I write N01, N02 until blah 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 lah. Okay, but this one, this guy for this example, they write N25, N30. Okay, so why they write in this manner? Because let's say they want to modify this code. Okay, modify this code later, so they don't have to write erase this block. They don't write to erase this block. They just insert a new line here and write the line N26, for example, then N27. So they don't have to erase the number and add another line or another block, but they just add different number of block. That's why they make it in this manner, N25 and N30. Okay, so for rapid move, G00 adds 2.5, Y 4.75. So when the machine get this instruction, the tool will rapidly move, move fast to point X25, Y 4.75. If you have calculation here, X25, 4.75 around this area. So 2 and 4, X and Y. Okay, so cutting tool will move to here, from here, let's say from 0, 0. So it will go next block. Next block, Z 0.1, going down, going up, sorry. Z 0.1, positive is going up, right? So actually, this movement also is G00. Because of this function is modal, you don't have to write many times lah. N25 G00, you don't have to write it again. You don't have to write N30 G00 Z 0.1. So because of this function is modal, okay, this G00 is modal, it will be active until another G come out. For example, G01 and 31, G01, let's say Z5. Then automatically G00 will cancel out, will be turning off. Instead, they will use G01. Okay. So to make it shorter, G00 is modal, then you don't have to write G00. So usually what I recommend to all my students, because some of you is very difficult to remember which one is modal, which one is not, just write it, just write it back, G00 and write it N30 G00 Z 0.1. Okay. So if you want to add another line N35, just write it again G00 Z5. Okay. If you don't remember which one is modal, which one is not. Okay, because there is a list there. This one is a huge list. Which one is modal and which one is not modal. Okay, next we have G. Okay, this is still G00, right? So we have this G90, G20. So G90 means it's in absolute coordinate system. Okay, before this we have absolute and incremental, right? So G90 means using absolute and G20 using inch. Okay, next they use M06. M06 is tool change. So usually if you use M, you have to insert which tool you need to change. So in this manner, in this case, the tool change for tool number 2. Then on the spindle, M03, spindle on spindle on clockwise, ikut arah jam. with speed of 1200 RPM. So if let's say the question gives you cutting speed instead of spindle speed, cutting speed is V. So you have to convert it, okay, how to in order to get the RPM, V equal to pi dn divided by 1000 lah. So n here is this one lah. Alright. So N20 G00. G00 is rapid move. Okay, rapid move to X1, Y1, then rapid move again to Z01. Then G01. Okay, G01 is linear movement. Okay, this means is cutting. This is cutting action. G01. This one is only rapid move without cutting, but G01 is a cutting motion. So feed down to depth 0.25. So when you see negative here, means we make a hole Z going down, negative. Then go to Y3, X5, and so on until it rapid move again to Z1, 1 mm going up. Then go back to the 0 point and then switch off the spindle and end the program. Okay, so this is sample program to make a slot drill. Okay, this is G01. Okay, linear interpolation or linear movement of the cutting tool. Okay, this is the example. Okay, so this is sample again, slot drill again, but by using G01. Again, G01 is this one is the cutting movement lah. The rest G00 is rapid move without cutting. So this all without cutting. So here is a cutting movement. So you can check back this slide. So all of this interpretation is in the right side. Circular interpolation. So movement of the tool clockwise using G02. You can use clockwise. Okay, for example, G02 clockwise X4 Y1 with R3. R is the radius lah. 3 units here. 1, 2, 3. So R3 from X4 here Vn and Y1 going to X4 Y1. Okay. So again, this is G02 clockwise. You have G03 counterclockwise, G03 similarly but different way. Lawan arah jam, counterclockwise. Okay, this is the example. So dwell is drilling hole process where when you drill going down and you dwell for 4 or 5 seconds, okay, to remove the chips. For example, in drilling there will be a lot of chips. Chips is if you go to lab 3, if I'm not mistaken, you go for machining lathe machine, right, where you calculate the chips thickness. Okay, chips are the unwanted metal that comes out from the process of machining lah. So usually in drilling, you will drill a large hole and there will a lot of chips trapped inside the hole. You don't want that to happen, so you dwell. Dwell means you just turn on the drill without going further down. Okay, for example, you go for 1 mm, negative 1 mm down. So you just dwell for 1 second and go down again 1 mm, dwell again 1 second. Okay, so 1 second means the drill or the tool just rotate without going down. Okay, let's see how. Okay, this is a sample program. So G90, G20, so this all standard you need to write every time you write a program. G90, G20, so using absolute programming and each mode. M06 T1 to change to tool 1. M03 spindle on clockwise with speed 1300 RPM. So rapid move the tool to X1, Y1, Z01, and then go to G01. Okay, G01 means cutting action. G01 means cutting action. Go to drill a hole at, because this one is negative, means drilling a hole, going down at 0.125, okay, with feed rate 5 inch per minute. So at this, when they cut down at point of 0.125, it will dwell for 2 seconds. Dwell means the tool just rotate for 2 seconds. Okay. Next, the tool move back rapidly to other point, okay, without cutting, then cut start again at G01. Okay, then dwell again for 1 second, for example. So P1 is for 1 second, P2 for 2 seconds. Then rapid move to X0, Y0, spindle off, and program end. Right. So this is standard in closing the program, and this is standard for opening and programming. Okay. Usually question will give you how many spindle speed, what is the cutting tool number, and what type of unit, whether using inch or mm. Sorry. Okay, this one is not important, so I will not cover it. So this one is just different types of plane. We can work at different type of plane, XY plane, YZ plane. Okay, for example, this. Okay, for example, if you want G17, you will cut. The tool will be here. So this is the cutting tool. So if you choose YZ, the cutting tool is from here. Okay. So different plane, but we will not cover this. Okay, this one is the unit that you choose. G20 for inch. You can use G20 or G70, but I prefer just G20 lah. And G21 for metric. So if you want to use mm, okay, if the question asks you to use mm, choose G21. Okay. G28 will not cover, 29 will not cover. This one we will not cover also this one, tool composition, but tool composition is where, for example, just give you some info here. Cutter composition left. Okay, this one is left. Cutter composition left for G41 means that your uncut material will be on the left. The tool will be on the left of the uncut material. Okay, so this is the tool. So the tool will be on the left side of uncut material. So they will cut this area. So this is uncut material. So it will make a pocket. In machining, we call this a pocket. Okay. So this one use composition left. There is one more right. So right, they will cut it here. This one, this area is uncut. So this one is island. We call it as an island, pulau. Gambar video saya sekejap. So for example, this bottle, okay, this bottle, and this one is a island. This island. Okay, yang naik ni island. Okay, what next? So far ada question tak? Tak ada soalan saya terus je lah. Okay, tool length composition pun kita tak cover. This one to compensate a different length between the cutting tools, because we have a lot of tools in one machine. Some machine can save or can have 99 to hundreds of tools, so they will compensate the length. We will, for example, in machining, the important is 0.000, right? So here for this one is X, Y, Z. So you will tell Z at this point Z is 0, but when you change the tool, Z0 will have, for example, change also. Okay, machine will think here, but when you change tool to tool number 1 to, let's say, tool number 2, machine will think the 0 is still here, but you already changed the tool which is longer than tool number 1. So this area will cause accident lah. Dia boleh terlanggar lah dengan workpiece lain, because machine thinks the 0 is still at this area, but the tools that you change is longer than this tool. Similar here. Okay, so this area will be accidentally langgar yang lain lah, yang workpiece lah, kita punya benda kerja. So that's why we compensate it and tell the machine using, for example, this one plus how many different for tool number 2. Kalau tool pendek, we use, if the tool length is shorter than the reference tool T1, we use minus how many, the difference of the tool. So if you want to cancel, just call it for G49, cancel the command. Okay, this G4544 and G59. Okay, this one is a coordinate system. Okay, it's similarly a profile. Let's say a profile. So you have your Google profile, right? You have many Google account. For example, Google Chrome, you have profile. So your profile, you put your name. For example, my name Muhammad Azlan. Okay, this is my Google profile. So I have all my, let's say, bookmarks, my favorite website, all are saved in one profile. So if my son want to use my Google, the Google Chrome, they will change the account, his name lah, for example, Ashraf. Okay, then all the profile of Ashraf will go will pop up instead of using my profile. Similarly, like Netflix, like others lah. But in machining, they don't recognize names. Okay, they use code. So they have profile G54 until 59. So you can save different profile until 55, 6, 7, 8. So they have around 6 profile, 3, 4, 5, 6 profile. Okay. Let's say you use G54. You have all your settings, your favorite settings in the machine. So every time you use, you should include G54. Let's say your friend want to use this machine, she should use G55 lah. Otherwise, he will what do you call it? Destroy or usik kacau awak punya setting lah. Awak tak nak macam tu lah. Kan awak tak suka lah. I don't like my son to use my account. Maybe they will use to other website, and unfortunately, for example, YouTube, and then all YouTube home will be all cartoon in my account profile, for example. So that's why they give you some standard profile. In this G-code M-code, they call it G55 until G59. But usually you just use G54 for all of your works or assignment will be fine. Okay, what else? Drilling. Okay, this is PEG drilling, G73. We don't use this, but PEG drilling is the drilling where you use a cutting tool. Okay, there is a cutting tool. It goes down, and then, for example, 0.1. Okay, korek lubang. Then the tool will go up. Okay, the motion is like this: go down, go up, go down, go up. So the tools going down to make a hole, and it will go up slightly just to eject the chips. Okay, the chips. Serpihan besi yang terperangkap dalam lubang, the chips that trap inside a hole. So that's why we call it PEG drilling. So drilling, drilling will be used. Okay, G81 will be used. So in normal exercise or quiz, for example, you have to drill a hole here. Okay, you have 4 holes. So you have to use command G81. For example, this is 2 and 2. So you have G81 X2 Y2 and Z -1. For example, drill hole for 1 mm depth of cut, right? So you should use G81 for drilling a hole. G82 is spot drilling, but we will not use in this class. Deep hole drilling, G83. You can use also G81 for make a hole. So this one is absolute positioning, G90. Okay, you remember absolute positioning. For example, you have this point and this point. This is 2, this is 4, this is 2. So the coordinate of position here is 2, 2, and 4, 2. Okay. Whereas for incremental, okay, if you have 2, 2, sorry, this is 4. Okay, so this coordinate is calculated by incremental, the difference of this distance. So going to right is positive, going up also positive. So this one, the value will be 2, 2. Okay, so from here to here, what is different between the previous point? Again, it will calculate from previous point to, and because of there is no difference in y, so it will be 0. Right, so this one is a incremental positioning method. Any questions so far before I go through and speak to myself for another half an hour? No question, semua faham, alright, okay, next slide. G92, we will not use this. What else? G98 also no, G99 is not used. M code, okay, M code, we have spindle on, so this all we call it as a miscellaneous function. On the spindle, off the spindle, okay, change the tool, coolant on, coolant off. So this all the function that you need to remember. Okay, so usually we use M03, spindle stop at the end of the program. M06 usually comes with what tool number that you want to choose. Coolant on and coolant off. Clamp, usually we are not use clamp. And then M30 program end. So subroutine we are not consider, we not use in this class lah. So we up to here. Okay, I think we don't need to repeat. M03 clockwise, M04 counterclockwise. It's just next to M03. Spindle stop, M05, M06 tool change come with tool number. I think I already described this. I don't have to repeat it again and again. So this is example of machine tool change. In one machine will be a lot, hundreds of different cutting tools. So you as an engineer or as a operator that usually use this machine, you will recognize lah. You have to recognize number two, tool number 1, what tool, tool number 2, what tool, tool number 3, what tool there, because you have different size, different length. Okay, sometimes in newer machine, there are a computer there. They will tell you you can save. You put tool number 1, then you can save to the monitor what tool that you put, because this machine they don't know the tool. They don't have own brain to recognize the tool. You just put it in and it's stored in the this we call it tool magazine without knowing what kind of tool that you insert. So you have to tell the machine, okay, this tool length is how big, okay, what is the length, what is the diameter. So you should tell the machine. Okay, coolant. Okay, in machining, in order to cool down the process, we need coolant. Otherwise, the cutting tool will be very, very hot and it will be broken. It will easily broken. So that's why we need coolant. Okay, so you need a function to on the coolant and off the coolant. Okay, this is coolant. Okay, this type of water coolant. So usually around 90% of water, around 10% lubrication, lube, minyak. Okay, it depends on lube. Sometimes 5%, 1 to 10% lah. Varies 1 to 10%. The rest is mixed with this water. So this example of clamp. Clamp is a device to hold your workpiece. So this is the workpiece that you want to machine. So this device will hold it into place. So this is clamp off. Open the clamp. Alright, I think that's all for G-code and M-code. So there is a lot of program here. You can go through one by one. If you have any question, just let me know. Right. And I will supply you like this and with all the coordinates, okay, for your quiz. So you should come out with this. Okay, you will have 1 hour quiz with 5% marks online. So unfortunately, I think we don't have any green light for doing face-to-face class, because I heard that face-to-face class will be on next semester because of the case. Many cases are really rise, delta lah, beta lah kan. So too many cases. So just take care of yourself, and we do it online. And please make sure visit your e-learning. Make sure your e-learning is active, because our test one will be using e-learning. Okay, the question will be posted in e-learning. Before we have the test on the 30th, maybe 2 or 3 days before, we will have what we call it, testing session. Testing session. So this testing session, we will have all of you have to join. Switch on your camera. Okay. So make sure this testing session will be the same place that you use for the real test. So you need to have a data that allow you to switch on your camera from 9 to 11. Okay. If you not have your camera on, you will be disqualified for the test. So make sure you find the place where we can monitor